Sometimes I feel like I've drifted. I feel different, I feel gifted. I've been high so long, don't need to smoke to get lifted.
Alright, so here's how this works.
It's going to be a series of episodes specifically for Instagram TV, but I'm going to expand it to YouTube and Facebook Watch. So I'm gathering some of the best musicians, artists, entrepreneurs, business people, models, photographers that I know to just hop on the camera and just share their story. There's not going to be any scripts. There's not going to be any acting. There's not going to be any fake stuff. It's going to be completely authentic and completely raw.
Real content, bringing real emotion, the realness. And I'm not talking about street realness where it's like, yeah, fuck all that. Fuck your money, fuck your jewelry, fuck your cars, fuck all your bitches that you got. Them shits don't make you cool no more. That's obsolete now. I'm establishing that.
As y'all can see, I'm going to be doing stuff like that to help y'all understand the perception more. Kind of like how the way Bumblebee in Transformers takes clips of radio to communicate his message.
Can you talk?
XM satellite radio. Digital cable brings you
broadcasting system. So you talk through the radio? Actually, you do. You're wonderful. You're wonderful.
So we're just gonna sit down and have conversations with these people. So if I invited you on this show, just know it's because I respect you and I admire you, and I genuinely love what you're creating, and I'm really curious. So there's two reasons why Intuition just told me to make this. Number one, you must be supporting other artists, especially if you're an artist. That's just something that comes with the game. I want to help you get more exposure. I want to help you get out there.
Yeah. Vibe with this bad bitch in the whip when I ride this, and I'm feeling it. Oh, when I'm 40, I'm still in it. One of the few that be killing it. Yeah, young motherfucker that be giving what he living on the road to success, so you know that I'm driven. But it ended when I publish it. But right now I'm on some other shit. I'm in a different world. I'm with a different girl. I'm with the same team, but it's a different scheme. Remember back when I couldn't even pay the bills, and I never forget how that feels. Back when I would buy it, break it, roll it, light it, smoke it, inhale it. I'm gone. Buy it, break it, roll it, light it, smoke it, inhale it. I'm gone.
I won't smell perfume, I smell the sorrowful aroma. Yeah, baby, so can we talk? I said, Miss Lady, can we talk? Yeah, to each other.
Number two, this is where the thought came actually. My little brother and my little sister just graduated high school this year, and I just felt like there was so much I wanted to teach them from all the experience since I've graduated high school, and it's gonna take more than one or two conversations with them to really get it. So I wanted to create some kind of platform that people can watch to where they get deeply inspired to do something. I mean, it's just really simple. I want to help people get more views and get more understanding and more perception about all the things that you can do in today's world.
So here's a little bit of my story. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Huge Houston fan of all sports. I fell back on a lot of movies once I started reading a lot of books. I used to hate reading books, but finding out that school doesn't teach you the things that are necessary to live in today's world, I felt it was really important to teach yourself things to help yourself grow in this life. So some of my passions, I used to draw when I was younger. Like 15, 16, I started getting really into it. It was very amateur back then. I noticed though as time went on that I started to get better and I started to gain more confidence. And I just kept practicing and practicing. Once college hit though, all of that stopped. I got too busy studying, and then the studying took over. I remember one day I was scrolling through Instagram and I came across this girl who makes portraits, and I asked her how much she made. She said she charges no less than $600 for each portrait. And I was just like, wow. So I instantly said I can do that. Let me get back into it. James Harden, one of my favorites. I really love basketball. It's a huge passion of mine. It's a stress reliever. He's one of the greats for sure.
for all-time great guard in the history of this game.
Mike D'Antoni recently, talking about Harden, said he's the best offensive player I've ever seen.
Harden one-on-one here. Yeah, James doubling up the Clippers. Clean up on aisle 3. Clean up on aisle 3. Someone call someone because there's a cleanup on aisle 3 as a man is down.
I thought you said this arena wasn't buzzing. It's buzzing now. Oh, man.
Although I have to let it be known, Kyrie Irving is my favorite player, hands down. He's a big influence in why I became vegetarian. My second drawing was J. Cole, just because he's by far my favorite music artist. Some things I really admire about him. He's just really conscious. He's a good influence. And he doesn't talk about, the whole money, cars, females thing all the time. He's actually just all about good vibes and spreading love and talking about things that really matter out there in the world.
I wrote this shit to talk about the word addiction. Please don't get it twisted, this is not no intervention. This is for the whole feel, I hope you're listening. No, this is for the whole wide world, I hope you're listening. Smoking medical grade, but I ain't got prescription. All the way in Cali where they ain't got precipitation. Feeling like the only one that made it, and I hate it for my homies cause they ain't got ambition. What did you expect? You could blame it on conditions. Blame it on crack, you could blame it on the system. Blame it on the fact that 12 got jurisdiction to ride around the neighborhoods that they ain't never lived in. Blame it on the strain that you feel when daddy missing. Blame it on Trump shit, blame it on Clinton. Blame it on trap music and the politicians. Or the fact that every black boy wanna be Pippin, but they only got 12 slots on the Pistons. Blame it on the rain, Milli Vanilli with the discount. What I'm trying to say is the blame can go deep as seas. Just to blame them all, I would need like 20 CDs. There's all sorts of trauma from drama that children see. Type of shit that normally would call for therapy. But you know just how it go in our community. Keep that shit inside, it don't matter how hard it be. Fast forward, them kids is grown and they blowing trees and popping pills due to chronic anxiety. I've been saw the problem, but stay silent cause I ain't Jesus. This ain't no trial, if you desire, go higher please. But that now I'm older, I love you cause you my friend. Without the drugs, I want you to be comfortable in your skin. I know you, so I know you still keep a lot of shit in. You're running from yourself when you buying product again. I know you say it helps, and no, I'm not trying to offend, but I know depression and drug addiction don't blend. Reality distorts and then you get lost in the wind. And I done seen the combo take brothers off the deep end. One thing about your demons, they bound to catch up one day. I'd rather see you stand up and face them than run away. I understand this message is not the coolest to say, but if you down to try it, I know of a better way. Meditate. Meditate. Meditate.
X was my third drawing. I didn't really get into him until my sister had passed away. It was a lot of pain, a lot of just depressing feelings, especially when I was having girl problems at the same time. It's not a good mix when somebody dies and a girl is just playing with your head. So X he brought those feelings to life. He brought them out of me, and he made me make more sense of what was going on. This is actually my sister. She's the one that passed away. She actually took her own life. She was going through a lot of stuff. That's a really big reason why I wanted to make this show, because I feel like there's a lot of topics that need to be talked about in this generation, because it's hard. It's hard out there, and we gotta come together and create together, and make sure that things like this don't happen again. I used to play a lot of baseball too. That was a blessing within itself, the game came with a lot of lessons. So I had to draw my man, Jose Altuve, MVP last year, World Series champion. This guy just showed that even the smallest person on the field can have the biggest results. This guy for practice used to swing sledgehammers. He would sometimes, for contact practice, he would grab a small skinny stick and have someone throw rocks so he can just hit them for batting practice.
Altuve drills one deep to left field. Astros take the lead. That ball's onto the train tracks. Train number 27 has just left Union Station. It's 2-0 Houston.
Welcome home, Jose Altuve. Putting on a show for these fans.
I do like to express my art in many different forms. I also do spoken word poetry. Here's a little clip.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's been a little while. Got some new shit.
New shit!
Oh, man. So the Houston Astros are world champs, right? Anybody here go to the parade? Yeah, some of us. I heard over 1 million people were in attendance. You know, I saw this thing, it just kind of bugged me. This girl posted something on Facebook that sounded something like, so what good does the Astros winning a World Series do for the city of Houston? Like, does it really have any effect on the economy or do anything positive for the city? This whole baseball thing seems kind of pointless. It was just negative energy, but I realized some people just don't really care. And that's cool. I just wanted to help you guys understand why over 1 million people flooded downtown Houston on a hot November day. Yeah, because it's hot in November in Houston. You see, this city is filled with baseball fields full of kids whose mothers couldn't even afford the cleats that were required to run around those bases. But it put a smile around their faces, so they went ahead and made it happen. Got a new glove and a bat and said, son, go on and chase your dreams now. You got a coach and you got a team now. And that's when life really begins for us. It's the first time we really fell in love. That's when we learn how to take them L's before we even learn how to spell. That's when we learn to sit down on the bench and be humble because there's always somebody who can do it better than you. And sometimes that better person is just you 2 seasons from now. Always growing, always climbing, always striving to be something better, learning how to fight through all that pain and learning how to sacrifice some pleasures. It's when you really learn what it means to swing for the fences. It's when you learn bad habits and mistakes can always lead to consequences. It's experiencing for the first time all the highs and all the lows. It's learning that life is sometimes gonna throw at you a curveball. And at times the ball might even hit you in the face. It's also when you learn to get up. It's when you learn to be grateful and take the bases that you were given. For some of us, it's the experience of having fallen just to remember that we have risen. That's where life begins for some of us. You see, after Harvey, there was this need for an emotional uplifting for the people in our city. Like this obligation to take this gloomish energy and just knock it straight out of the park, and that's literally what the Astros did. See, the New York Yankees are a great team, but they had no idea what they were up against this year. They weren't playing against just a group of guys, they were playing against the city. Los Angeles was playing against a community of 6.6 million people who for some for the first time really witnessed the true meaning of teamwork. They were playing against collapsed roads and damaged houses. They were playing against inhabitants of streets and sidewalks filled with sheetrock and treasures of people's lives. They were playing against the 40,000 homeless in the 77 that died. Yet let us not forget they were playing against the essence of resiliency, against the greatest medical center in the world. They were playing a city that has been longing for that trophy for 56 long years. They were playing against first responders and the neighbors and the volunteers. They were playing against Jim McIngvale, aka the Mattress Mac. So after thinking for a while of a comeback to say to this girl on Facebook, I just replied, it just felt really good. It felt really good because it was home. It felt good for our city to be on the national news for something other than a hurricane. It felt good seeing champs on the Houston Chronicle. It felt so surreal that it made some of us really feel like we were flying. It felt good because it made us feel alive in a world where everybody is dying. It felt good because Los Astros took hope onto that field and then they gave it right back to us. And all the dopamine just gave us all the feels. They gave us every ounce of fight they had left. And what a better way to represent the people of Houston. Thank you, guys.